Hello, it's Pete here again with another vlog. Today is all about making memories, but they're not my memories, not today. And sometimes, you know, a project can start off with a photograph. This is our Jess. This is our Jess, the one who's sobbing her little heart out, and that's her sister trying to console her. And I think it shows sisterly love. So this is what we're going to try and bring to life with a few great Sizzix dyes and a few wonderful techniques. So let's look at some of the dyes we're going to use today. First of all, this is a set called Mini, Slimline and Tickets. It comes from the hugely talented Eileen Hull. And I'm using this particular ticket strip. It does come with a die that goes around it as well. So you can die cut straight into the card, you can trim it to size, or you can put that around it. So there's three ways of using that, and this wonderful background as well. So that's the first one. Then next up, we've got from our fabulous family names. It's fabulous family names. We've got the word fabulous and we've got the word sister, so you can see how this one's going. Then next, everyday shapes. This is fabulous everyday shapes, and I'm going to be using the two florals from that. Then we've got, this is Hello Love, designed by the wonderful Lisa Jones, and we're using this gorgeous, gorgeous frond from that set. And finally, again, another one designed by Debi Potter. It's the Fabulous Frames and Borders, and from this set, we're going to use this. This is one of my favorite dyes of all time. So simple, but so versatile. So let's get cracking. So I've cut all my shapes. In a second, I'm going to be doing something with some acrylics to create the background, and then we're going to lay them all down, step 3, and show how we move things about and get the composition working. So I've got some of this lovely card. All the cardstock is Sizzix cardstock, of course, and I'm placing this dye onto the card and using my trusty Sizzix Big Shot machine. So that goes in there. Simply place the other plate on top and run it through. And then we get this, but not only that, we get all these lovely little green dots. You know, a quick tap will get those out, or use your die brush or anything, but they can come in quite handy. If you're using shaker cards, you know, you can choose your colors. Wow. Pow! So let's take this, because what I want to do now to get that kind of ticket effect, I'm going to just take a pair of scissors and cut around that. But you can see how it will work equally well if you wanted to cut it directly into a project. So there we are, just trim that a bit more. Perfect. Don't forget, you can use these edges as well. It does give a lovely, lovely edge to that. So we'll put those to one side. Maybe they will live to fight another day. And I've got this alongside the mint. That's a lovely, fresh combination. And it does go perfectly. And I'm using this gold. This is from our gold opulence. And a little bit of black as to add some impact as well. And we're going to do a cool technique with that in a second. But let's take a look at our background. So I'm going to start off by using my wonderful Sizzix Media Mat. And you know, something I thought about, some of you guys, I know you like to apply glue to the back of your hand. I can't do that because I've got hairy hands. But if you put that, this just keeps the media mat together. Put that there, pop the glue on there, good to go. Wow, who'd have thought? Now, let's roll this out so that's ready to go. This is a mat that I use whether I'm using acrylics, distress inks, oxide sprays, everything like that. It's also a heat-resistant surface, so if you're using your glue gun or your heat tool, absolutely perfect. I'm going to use now, let's dip into this Sizzix toolkits. Now, if you're not familiar with these Sizzix toolkits, please go to the website and have a look, because there's some wonderful ones. And I'm using some of the tools from the mixed media set. And of course, the great thing about these tools is they're all interchangeable. So you get your handle, every kit includes a handle, and then whether you want to use a palette knife or in this case a brayer, that's what I'm going to be using today. I haven't washed this. I'm a bad person. I didn't realize that when I opened this up. I usually do wash it every time, but hey, still going to work perfectly. So that's what I'm using. I'm using my brayer and my palette knife for best results today. And this is my background. Now this is my background piece. The great thing about these media mats, they don't have any edges, so if you want them coming off the end or anything like that, you can do that. You can absolutely do that. And we're going to be bringing in some primrose, some cherry blossom, and some white acrylic. I'm going to start off with the darker of the three colors, which is the primrose, and we're just going to squirt. Now remember, with these acrylics as well, you can always add more. Never put too much down. You know, if you feel like you need more, just put a blob more. But if you put a big blob, not only does it waste paint, but it's kind of, you get too much on the mat, and it's just not working. So let's roll this out. And what I like to do is spread it out a little bit before I start, and then I just roll back into, and notice I'm lifting and rolling, and that's how I get a really, really smooth base. So I don't know how this is going to turn out. This is the fun bit, to be honest with you. We're kind of just making it up as we go along. I'm also going to place that down and pick some of that paint up. It gives it a very different look, a very different vibe. Let's try some more there, like so. So we're just playing around, and this is part of the fun. When using acrylics like this, you're using these techniques, just play around, have some fun. Use scrap paper, use your bank statements, your junk mail, anything like that, anything you've got to hand. So there we are, that's the darker of the colors. I'm going to come back to that one in a second probably as well. Now I'm using the lighter of the two pinks, which is our cherry blossom. And again, and spread it out and work it into that mat like so. So I know that I've got, if I look at this now, I know that I've got really even coverage all over my brayer. I'm going to come back in there. It's a subtle difference, but it's one that I love. So if I put too much on the brayer, I wouldn't have got the results I'm getting. Let's get some more. So you see that's very light now. So it's kind of going from dark to light. That's the way we're working. I am going to add a bit more of the darker color to get even more contrast, but I'm going to do something pretty cool with that as well. So there we are. Let's get, so you can see that I'm lifting it directly off the mat. Wow, that's looking good. Now let's take a bit more of this, and I'm gonna reach down. This is a technique that I often employ, and I'm gonna roll this out. And I'm looking for a rubber stamp. And I've got it here somewhere, folks. So let's just roll that out, because we want that one, you'll notice, is a little bit thicker. Yeah, well, that's about right now. That's about right. I'm going to take the rubber stamp. And you could use any rubber stamp for this, but I'm going to go back over. Now, so you see how we've got that kind of coming in there, and I can put some maybe at the top as well. It's just a fun thing to do. Just add some extra texture to the make. Now, if I go in with white, I could do exactly the same thing. But I'm rolling that out now. This time, what I'm going to do, I'm going to spritz with some clean water. And let's take this off for a second and attach my palette knife, because I'm going to pick some of this up and I'm going to flick it onto my project. And it's a great way of controlling what would otherwise be a quite random technique. So even though I don't know exactly how it's going to go, I kind of know exactly where it's going to go. So yeah, well, maybe you get a bit more coming out here at the top. You know, you want to get it to a kind of a creamy consistency. The wetter it is, the more it spreads, the less control that you have over that. So there we are. Now let's take some white and do exactly the same. So we're going to spritz that white, get it down to where we want it. I'm simply just going to clean this off on my mat. You don't have to go and wash that, because we're working with very inexact techniques here. We're just having a bit of fun. So let's bring that in at the side over the darker color there. It's so much fun doing this, and I implore you, if you're a bit nervous of these kind of techniques, you know, when we think of mixed media, sometimes we think of really mucky and grungy and all those colors that they call to mind, but it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, that's really fresh, that's really clean. We've used a minimal palette, we've used pink and white. So I'm just going to leave this to dry, and we're going to start adding all of our die cuts and, of course, our gorgeous photograph. And there you go, all done. Nice simple techniques, having a little bit of fun with some of our tools and acrylics, and of course the gorgeous die cuts. But obviously, you know, when you're doing something like this, when you're doing whether it's a scrapbook layout or a memory album or a frame, it's all about the photo. That's where it starts, and that dictates where you go from there. I've got to thank Jess for allowing me to use this photo. I don't have a sister. Sisterly love indeed. Lots of fun. So don't forget, if you want to see some other videos showing our new dies, check out our YouTube channel, check out Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, all the usual places, TikTok as well. Thank you for joining me today. I've been Pete, and I'll see you again soon.